Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm gonna be giving you part 4 of What If Naruto Got All Kurama Powers during the pain arc, guys. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends and social media platform, and also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the brand new episodes of the other channels. Yes, I indeed have 4 of them if you're new guys. Anime King, Anime King 2, Anime King 3, and Anime Prince, guys, which I post what if on every single day for you guys to enjoy. Yes, you heard that correctly. Every single day, guys. So don't forget to turn on the bell notification to see exactly when I post. And also comment and tell me so I can welcome you personally. So without further ado or wasting time, what do you say we jump right into this brand new episode begin now, guys? So the last spot we left off, Sasuke was heading to the village, as he was going to destroy it, after recently finding out what really happened between Itachi and Konoha. However, him and his team was stopped by the masked man, as the man told them that Konoha has already been put through literal hell by a member of the Akatsuki with a Rinnegan. However, when they heard that he was defeated, they were shocked, couldn't believe it, and the new Hokage was none other than Sasuke once best friend, Naruto. Sasuke was angry for that, intensely so. Whenever he was reminded of Konoha, he could see them all laughing at him, laughing at Itachi's sacrifice. But Naruto was never there before. He was different. He understands Sasuke in a different way. But now, all Sasuke saw was Naruto laughing at him as well, and he grew so angry. He was furious, downright mad, as he decided not to move against Konoha now, as the masked man had a different objective for them at the moment. As for Naruto, as he went to the secret archives, arriving inside, Naruto went through everything except for the fourth Hokage stash, as all the Hokages had several secret techniques and several things that should be passed on to the next Hokage. As the woman told him that none has been able to enter because of the complex seal that the fort placed up. However, what they begin to understand was it was some sort of blood seal. That is when Naruto applies blood, the woman watches it unfurled. She then realized, but Naruto told her to shh, as she remained quiet. So that means he was a son of the fourth Hokage. Upon entering, Naruto came across several things, but his mother and father had wrote him a note, as Naruto actually shed a tear. His father actually lightened the mood with his little joke comment at the end, as that made Naruto smile brightly. He will indeed do what it takes to make sure that Konoha returned back to his former self and beyond. When the meeting was had, it was rather boring, as Naruto got to his feet as he promised to get Konoha back to his feet in a month time. Everyone was shocked to hear that. However, the determination in his eyes, the daimyo simply smiled as he believed that he chose right. As for Naruto, he had to worry about the Jonin vote as well. It seems like Kakashi still didn't believe that he was ready. However, Naruto would not look at him as he spoke. But Kakashi just didn't want Naruto to put so much pressure on his head. Being Hokage was immensely difficult, and he believed that Naruto was too young. As for the Saiyan siblings, they heard about what happened, as they decided to head to Konoha's Gara, would like to see this for himself. The Raikage was also going to be calling a meeting, but before that, though, Naruto called several people that he knew in the past, several people that owe him a favor, as he got response back from 3. The other one said that they will have to come to Konoha as they want to speak to him personally, and Koyoki wanted Naruto to come towards the Land of Spring, given that they had the most technological features Naruto could truly do for her helping. However, she wanted him to come there, as he did not mind, so he requested the old Team 7. Sakura was a bit upset as Naruto had not talking to her for an entire month now, as she missed him. She missed him greatly. She had some abandonment issues after Sasuke had left, and Naruto left for 3 years and then he stays training. But now he was back and it seems that they were drifting apart, as she didn't want to make things even worse. But this will be her opportunity to speak with him. As for Naruto the elder, Sumiro and Koharu came in, as they spoke badly about Tsunade, causing Naruto to lose his temper. But he eventually calmed himself though. They believed that his reign in the office will be short, but he was going to prove all of them wrong, and he was going to change all of their minds. So yeah guys, basically as we left off, you guys can switch across and please check it out for yourself. So we jump right into this brand new episode begin now guys. We begin this episode with Naruto, as his clones were going about their business while the real Uzumaki was going over some Fuinjutsu scrolls. As he closed the left scroll and placed it in his Jonin pouch, he then jumped down towards the field where his clones were working. They understood the meaning of his action as they start to dispel themselves, one group after another. Because Naruto added more clones to his training regime, he made them deactivate themselves a group after another so the mental strain would not hurt him badly. Once all of them were gone, he walked toward the center of the open grass plain. As he stood there were trees that circled the plain for about 200 yards in each direction. Aside from trees, there were several rock formations that pierced through the grass. These were created by hundreds of so clones that were practicing taijutsu. As Naruto closed his eyes, as he used his senjutsu chakra to pinpoint each of his watchful Anbus, as they were not that great when it came to senjutsu, so they were in shock when their Hokage suddenly pointed towards the direction that Elephant stood. As he called him out, Kenta body flickered right into the area, as his mask was hiding his shock that he was so easily found. As Naruto opened his eyes and smiled warmly, "We're going to be having a little spar," he said. Kenta nodded as he wasted no time as he grabbed the Nodiki that was strapped to his back. As he moved forward, the moment he was within 15 yards, a tetragram appeared under his feet. On instinct, he leaped to the right, dodging the explosion that followed. However, it did not stop there. The moment he landed back on the ground, another black circular seal appeared on the ground. He was fortunate to dodge the trap once more. This occurred several more times. Everywhere he landed, a new seal would show up that suddenly exploded. Luckily, Kenta was skilled enough to maneuver himself out of any harm. As he continued to dodge the explosions, he noticed that they became less frequent the further he got away from Naruto. His theory was proven correct when he was 15 so yards away from Naruto. There were no seals that appeared 15 yards away from Naruto. The only thing that was affecting him was the grim and dirt that was clung into his armor. Other than that, he was completely fine. His breath was slightly heavier from the quick movements he had to pull off, but he was just warming up. As he came to a stop after making a full circle around Naruto to test his limit, as Kenta assumed that Naruto had his clones place all those seals in the grass while he was training, showing that the boy was indeed worthy of the title ninja. As Naruto had known that he wanted to spar one of his Anbu beforehand, and he used his knowledge by setting up traps. Kenta doubted that the younger members knew that Naruto clones were doing this. However, he wouldn't be surprised if that Naruto was doing that. Nothing seemed to get past her keen eyes. He sheathed his Kodiki as he doubted that he could make it to Naruto unscathed, so he would force the Hokage to come towards him. He blurred through hand signs before he brought his hand down and slammed them into the ground, earth style. A dragon made of rock and mud emerged from the ground and raced towards Naruto. Naruto leaped about 20 yards back as the earth dragon slammed into the spot that he was once standing. While Naruto did escape unharmed, the dragon served its purpose as it nullified Naruto mind field. The chakra that was laced in the technique spread across the ground, wiping away the chakra in the seals. As Naruto did not seem bothered that his entire clone work was just destroyed, as he landed with a straight face. Even though he let his clones cut back the time that they trained today to create those mud seals. But he knew already once his opponent understand what they were and where they were, they would be pretty much useless. He took the strap off his shoulder as the scroll dropped to the ground, as he used his foot to open as it unraveled. As Naruto held his hand over it, poof, a blade was summoned into his palm. It was just an ordinary katana. as Naruto left the scroll on the ground before he leaped forward towards the Anbu member. Kenta did not reach for his node key though as he went through hand signs once again, Earth style. Immediately the earth at Naruto's sides rose up, creating a small crevice that he continued to run right through. Kenta closed his hands together as the two large rocks tried to crush Naruto in the center. As Naruto continued to run as he blew ear onto the blade, covering it in wind chakra. For a split second the earth jutsu fully encased Naruto, as the Anbu guards, except for Bear, were slightly scared that Kenta just crushed their Hokage. However, the next second, the two rock sides crumbled as they were cut to pieces. As Naruto did all of this without even stopping. However, the trained Anbu member did not even bat an eye when he saw his jutsu obliterated, as he flashed to another set of hand signs, Earth style. The earth beside Kenta turned to a dark muddy color as it spun, creating a giant circle, as it then rose up into a giant dragon. The dragon then proceeded to open his mouth as he shot giant mud bullets towards Naruto. Naruto saw the attack coming as he dipped and weaved through the barrage as best as he could, as Naruto cursed himself for not taking his weights off prior to the fight because the weights were holding him back a lot. Kenta increased the chakra fold as the projectiles got faster, as Naruto was able to dodge several of the newer bullets, but one of them were able to nick his side, just graze him barely, as they started coming faster and faster. As Naruto sliced through a bullet that was aimed towards his head, it split in two and passed him, continuing on with a force to show how fast they were going. Unfortunately, there was another right below it that he did not see. The mud bullet hit him right in the chest as Naruto was sent tumbling back. Kenta canceled his jutsu and smirked victoriously, as he knew that this was his victory. Any ordinary ninja would be knocked out by his enhanced mud bullets. As he watches Naruto lie on the ground unconscious, Peacock and Armadillo were surprised that their Hokage had lost so easily, especially after everything they heard about him. On the other hand, Bear scoffed under her mask. "Fool," she said, speaking about Kenta. Poof! Both Naruto and his sword went up in smoke. Kenta quickly reached for his node key, but a hand grabbed him from behind, holding it in place, as a sword was placed at his throat. Kenta swallowed as he turned and glanced to see the Hokage standing behind him, untouched, unscathed. "Seems we have ourselves a draw," said Naruto. "That was a great spar." Kenta's other hand was holding a kunai pointed towards Naruto's stomach. As Naruto was amazed by how powerful the Anbu members were, in the split second that Naruto grabbed his right hand to stop him from pulling his blade, his other hand had already pulled a kunai. Granted, Naruto was not going with all that he had, but still, they were amazing. As Naruto backed away, releasing him. As Kenta nodded, but he had a question. "How?" he said. "When you used your earth style to trap me in that cavern," said Naruto, "there was a split second before I destroyed it when I used a clone to take my place. I hid in the rubble of your jutsu and waited for the clone to get your attention. Doing so allowed me to slip behind you, where I waited for the opportune moment to strike." Kenta was amazed by his leader, quick thinking. Kenta was more of a strong-head person, so if he was in his leader position, he would have just charged right through. From the earlier reports, he thought that his leader was that same kind of person, but he guessed he was wrong. As Kenta knew if their spar had continued, he would have surely lost. As Naruto sealed his sword back away in the scroll as he put it back over his shoulder. "You're dismissed," he said. As Naruto did not have to look to know that Kenta was already gone. As he made his way, he had a long day tomorrow. Time skip. The chirping of the bird outside woke Sakura up as the sunlight came from her window. As she rubbed her eyes and sat up, she was wearing her pink pajamas that had little red strawberries on them. Her bare feet hit the wooden floor as she made her way to the bathroom, as she stretched and yawned, as she looked at herself with half-closed eyes. As she stepped into the bath and turned the water on to heat up for a second before she moved towards the calendar to see what today entailed. It was probably just going to be another boring day at Konoha Hospital. That was until a big smile spread across her face. Yes, today is the day, she thought as she saw what today was, as she quickly went to the shower. Today was the day that Team 7 finally reunites, as they were going on a mission towards the land of spring. Plus, they would be getting pretty good pay since it was an A-rank mission. Any mission dealing with the Hokage leaving the village was high priority. Aside from that, she hoped that it would just be her and Naruto there, so that she could catch up with him. Kakashi would surely be late by an hour or two, but Sai would show up on the dot because he was probably the most punctual amongst the team. This meant as long as Naruto came a bit earlier than he was supposed to come, they could talk. As she giggled to herself, she was excited to see her best friend. Finally, she could get the chance to talk to him. Time skip, Sakura arrived towards the gates. As she was already prepared and dressed, as she had on a backpack, she looked as she did not spot any of her teammates. As she already figured that, she arrived 15 minutes early, so, well, that should not be surprising. As she moved over to the side of the gate where a couple of benches were, as she sat and waited, 15 minutes passed as he had yet to show up. However, time was run out so they could talk alone. The others would be here. Naruto, you idiot, she said. Come on, hurry up and show up before Sai get here. Greetings, Sakura-san. Sakura looked up to see Sai, waving at her. Damn it, speak of the devil. Hey Sai, she said. How are you doing, she asked. As they chatted for a few minutes before going silent as they waited for the other two. As more time passed, neither of the other two showed up. And the longer this went on, the more frustrated Sakura got. She could handle Kakashi showing up late. That was what he was known for. However, after not seeing her for this long, Naruto would show up this late as well. That was beginning to anger her. Who does that idiot think he is, she thought to herself. As a vein started to throb on her forehead, the bench that she was sitting on started to crack as she was squeezing it rather tightly. About an hour and a half, Kakashi finally appeared as he jumped down towards them. As he gave them his eye smile, yo, he said, sorry, my fish died so I had to hold a memorial in his honor. Are we all ready? He asked. Sakura crossed her arms and sneered as she grumbled. No, she said. Kakashi could hear the murder intent in her voice as he sweat a little. Usually she just yelled at him and they would be on their way, but now she was a lot more pissed. When Kakashi looked as he saw that Naruto was not there, he understood why. Sai only made it worse by stating the obvious. Naruto-kun is not here yet, he said, as Sakura eyebrow twitched hearing his name. Kakashi chuckled behind his mask nervously. I'm sure that he will be here any second. As if on cue, there was a poof that popped into existence. As Naruto was in his Hokage attire, backpack on, over his stage stroll. A long time no see, guys, he said, as he smiled at them, his eyes closed. The next thing he knew, a fist was in his face as he was blasted away, as Sakura still had her fist extended outwards. You blockhead, she said. We've been waiting for almost 2 hours. Where have you been? The next thing Sakura knew, 4 blades were pointed at her throat. As Sakura squeaked at the appearance of the Anbu, surprise, as she looked around frantically, as she just realized that she just punched the 6th Hokage. She was about to start to apologize, but Naruto's voice broke her thoughts. At ease, he said. It's okay, guys. This thing is normal for us. The woman in front of Sakura with a beer mask stepped to the side as Sakura saw Naruto, looking completely fine, as Naruto placed his Hokage hat on top of his head. As the other members released their blade from Sakura's throat, causing her to release a breath that she didn't even know she was holding. She finally looked at Naruto as the two made eye contact, as she found his new attire strange, as she still could not believe that he was Hokage. She was just happy even though there was others around. They would get to catch up anyway. As she opened her mouth, hey, nah. However, he looked away. You guys are dismissed, he said, till I get back. Take some time off or something. I don't know, do whatever you guys do when you're not following me, said Naruto. They nodded. They were trained not to argue with their leader even though they're supposed to follow him outside the village as well. As Armadillo and Peacock leap away, as Bear and Elephant remain behind a second to greet Kakashi. How are you doing, Kakashi Teiko? It's been a while, Kenta said. The once Anbu captain had been reading his porn book since Naruto showed up, so he had to look up to greet a old subordinate of his. Even though the man was still wearing a mask, Kakashi could tell who it was from his height. There was only one man that tall and bald in Anbu. Ah, Kenta-kun, you look great. How are your wife and daughter doing? Kenta nodded and Kakashi assumed from the tone of his voice the man was smiling under his mask. They're doing great, thanks for asking. I should be heading home, he said. It's not very often the Hokage guards get time off like this. Kakashi nodded understanding as he noticed Bear, as he quickly hid the book behind his back, out of instinct. There was an awkward silence between the two, as Bear spoke. Kakashi? By this time, Kakashi had slipped his boat back in his pouch, hoping the god bear did not see it. Knowing his luck, she probably did. Not to my Teiko, he said. As Naruto walked up between the two. So how do you guys know each other, he asked. Kakashi sent Naruto a glance, and he had to ignore the fact that the Uzumaki was still not looking at him. As Naruto was looking at Bear Butt, Kakashi answered, Kentagon was one of my subordinates during my time as an Anbu captain, and Natsumai was my captain when I first entered Anbu. We have something of a history together. Bear clarified, we were lovers for a time. That made everyone instantly uncomfortable and dumbfounded. Well, that's great, said Naruto. I'm so happy you guys could see each other again. Unfortunately, we're kind of in a rush, so if you wouldn't mind Natsumai-chan, said Naruto. She looked towards her leader and nodded in understanding. She did not even spare another glance towards Kakashi as she proceeded to jump away. Once she was gone, Kakashi released a breath that he did not know he was holding. That was a close one. That woman scared the hell out of me. Yeah, she can be a bit scary, said Naruto. Is everyone ready to go? Sakura watched everything from a distance in silence, shocked that Naruto had completely dismissed her and not even said anything towards her this entire time. Had he just not heard her before, or was there something more? It had been almost a month since they spoke to one another. Maybe he was mad because the first thing she did after so long was punch him, as she cursed at herself for being so stupid and hot-headed. The Haruna had to shake her head to compose herself, as they were already making their way out of the village. As she quickly caught up to them, trailing behind them as Naruto was the one in the lead. Several hours passed, they were now jumping from branch to branch towards the land of spring. Sakura and Kakashi wanted to talk Naruto, but neither knew how to start a conversation with him right now. Sakura was having far more trouble because in her mind, Naruto was mad at her, as Kakashi was just struggling to come up with ideas as an icebreaker, not thinking of anything good for a conversation starter. The two noticed that Sai got closer to Naruto to talk to him. They mentally thanked him for his ability to notice that everything was just awkward. They moved closer so they could hear. So, Naruto-kun, why were you so late? That is very unlike you, said Sai. Sai would have used a more formal tone in talking to the Hokage, but he read in about that, said, those who you were close to will prefer you use a more friendlier tone to speak to them. As Naruto glanced towards Sai before he turned his head forward as he spoke. Sai was glad that the book that he read was right because Naruto said nothing about the way to address him. Oh, that's because I knew that Kakashi-sensei would be an hour or two late. I figure I could better use my time in doing paperwork than waiting for him. Looked like my quick thinking paid off though. Well, instead of almost getting my head knocked off, Sakura and Kakashi's head dropped as it felt like guilt was pressing down on their shoulders. As Kakashi was, for once, upset about being late, and Sakura was because she got mad and punched him. As Sai spoke up, so why are we traveling towards the land of spring, he asked. Well, I intend to ask the daimyo for assistance in the recovery of Konoha. I know her personally, but she still want me to come to her home before we do anything official. She has some requests for me to be in one of her movies that she doesn't decide, apart from doing her traditional daimyo duties, said Naruto. I don't really know what it entails, but I guess we'll find out once we get there. As long as she agreed to help us though, I don't really care what I have to do to appease her. Sai nodded as he knew from experience with Danzo that the needs of many outweigh the needs of a few. Sai was happy that Naruto understood this as a Hokage, as he was willing to indulge lesser country in order to gain some support to re-establish Konoha as the strongest. On the other hand, the other two were shocked to hear this from Naruto of all people. All they always hear was that he would become Hokage one day out of his mouth, but know that he was actually Hokage. He was doing everything right and understanding the responsibilities. As if sensing their surprise, he glanced behind him. He did not look at them though, he just turned his head. Sakura and Kakashi could see that he was smiling, but it was very crestfallen. Did you guys really think that I was just claiming that one day I'll be Hokage, without truly knowing what it would require to take the mantle? I've been groomed to be a Hokage since I've wanted to be a ninja, even though the others did not know it, as Naruto was talking about his relationship with the third Hokage when he was young, as more guilt washed over the both of them. The rest of the trip was silent. When they pitched a camp for the night, Naruto was mostly off by himself. Kakashi decided to say at least something formal, as he asked for more detail regarding the mission, but Naruto didn't really have much to give. And despite throughout all of that, Naruto still did not look at Kakashi, as Sakura had stayed by herself not knowing what to say at all. After realizing how much she cared for Naruto as a friend, she did not want to say something stupid that would jeopardize their friendship. He was obviously angry at her for her actions, and she did not want to cause a more bigger problem, as she hoped that time was gonna quell his irritation. Team 7 finally arrived towards the land of spring in a few days, as they were greeted by an entourage of bodyguards that served the princess. They brought them towards a fully intact castle that was rebuilt. They saw how much land of spring had prospered and changed from the once known land of snow. No more snow inside, lush green grass and colored flowers. It would snow every once in a while, but not so much that it would cover the landscape in a white powder like it used to do. As the country was a small one, but they were all together as they followed the bodyguard lead as they made their way. As the door was pushed open by several of the men, revealing a gigantic throne room that was fitting for a daimyo. As the guards beckoned for them to go on themselves towards the room, and they did, they could make out several people standing at the side of the chair and one person sitting in it. The moment she saw him, she brightened up. "Naruto-kun!" as she almost tackled him in a hug. Although Naruto did not expect it, he was taking the embrace a lot better. "I haven't seen you in forever," she said. "You look amazing." As Naruto smiled as he returned her hug, pulling back so they could look at one another fully. Normally he would say that she looked exactly the same because she did, but he was trying to appease a daimyo here. So instead, "Thank you. You look just as great yourself, Koyuki-han," said Naruto, as she continued to look him up and down, a light blush staining her cheeks. She just could not believe how much he had changed, as she had to look up to meet his eyes, and he became so much more handsome. She was really glad that she told her producer to hold off until she found the right guy. As she started to walk back to her chair, as she spoke, "It's great to see you all after so long," she said. "However, we have much to do tomorrow, and I'm sure that you all must be tired from your long journey." "Sharukan," she said, "please show our guests to their quarters." "Right away, madam," as Sharu walked over towards a group of Konoha ninjas. The man had long snow-white hair that reached onto the middle of his back. His eyes were a pale green, as he was clad in a slim chakra armor with the source of the armor power in the chest plate. As something about this person made Naruto feel strange, but he said nothing about it. "Hold on for a second," said Naruto, catching their attention. "I just want to know what my rules and line was in the movie so I could kind of practice." The rest of the team agreed as they were interested. As Koyuki turned towards Naruto, a big smile on her face. "Oh, Naruto-kun," she said, "you don't really have any words at all." Everyone on Team 7 was confused by her statement. "All you have to do is take my virginity," she said. Everyone except for Sai, jaw dropped and nearly broke through the flooring. "Time skip. That wench intend to bed with the new Hokage," a feminine voice called out. Inside of a dark cave beneath the village, there was a small orb in the center. It was the only light, as it was casting a purple glow throughout the lair. Everyone within the hideout was hidden within the shadows. Another figure in the darkness scoffed. "Shut the hell up, Amaya," she said. "That's our daimyo you're talking about." "Screw you, Fubuki. You're even worse than her. At least you had some dignity when you were Dodo's whore." "For whenever little time that was," Amaya shot back. As she stepped into the light, she had pitch black hair that was tied back into a ponytail. Her eyes were onyx color. There was a scar to the right of her cheek. She was clad in a female armor, as it left room for her chest. As the orb was located at her abdomen, her headband was sewn into the cloth of her armor, just above the power orb. She was 25 years old. Fubuki walked into the light, smiling at her associate. "You better watch that ugly tone of yours. You will send all the men that you meet running, you pig." Fubuki was in a newer version of her old chakra armor from 4 years ago when she first ran into Team 7. It still had the wings attached to her back, and the orb of power was on her waist, but it was more modern and sleek. Green eyes and pink hair, as the metal had the plate of the village symbols sewn into the front. She was now 27 years old. Amaya sneered. "Come over here so I can kill you, you slut." The third member walked into the light. "You children nowadays are so disrespectful," he said. "How uncivilized." The man was elderly, as he had long white hair. He had big bushy eyebrows that seemed to be too heavy, as he was smaller than either of the girls, even though he looked rather fragile, as he was hunched over, with a cane that was made purely from ice. He was still wearing a chakra armor. "You want to die too, old man," Amaya asked, in a threatening tone. As Fubuki looked towards her, "Stop picking on Daichi," she said. "So uncivilized," the elder known as Daichi said once again. "That's enough, all of you." All of them turned towards the fourth voice, as the person stepped into the light. "Shiro-sama," they all said. As the man walked until he stood at the pedestal. "At ease," he said. As he walked towards the orb, it twisted and turned and showed a sleeping Team 7. "So this is the group that killed my brother, Naderi," he said. Fubuki nodded. "The one with the mask on his face, Sharingan no Kakashi. That's the one that killed your brother. The Hokage was at Genin the last time I saw him. I can't believe an idiot like him became the strongest nation leader. He and Sasuke Uchiha are the ones that stopped Dodo 4 years ago." "Sasuke Uchiha," Amaya said. "He's the one that defeated Orochimaru and killed him, and Itachi as well, making him the last surviving Uchiha. Thank God that he's not on their team anymore. He's probably a bigger threat than all of them." Fubuki nodded silently as she agreed with her, as she could still remember how hard the Uchiha kicks were in the past, and he was only 12 back then. The elder scoffed. "So uncivilized. You're both wrong. The biggest threat here is Kakashi Hatake. I have personally seen that man in action. He is ferocious on the battlefield and a seasoned ninja. He's unforgiving and he will not hesitate to strike you down." "You're all wrong," Shiro said, as he pointed toward the sleeping Naruto Uzumaki. "This boy right here is the biggest threat. None of us has any idea how strong he is, which make him the most dangerous. Konoha would not have picked some idiot to be their Hokage. There must be a reason why he was picked." When Shiro had met Naruto, he noticed Naruto's eyes looking at him, like he suspected something, but there was no way in hell that he could have expected or suspected anything. They've never met before. As Amaya spoke, "Why don't we just move our plan back a couple of days? Wait until they're gone." Shiro's eyes turned towards her, as she felt nothing but raw killer intent, dead centered on her. His tone was cold and unforgiving. "I have already told you all tomorrow is the time that we must commence our plans. Tomorrow is the day of the full moon and the first of winter. Tomorrow is the only day of the year that will allow us to turn Yukigakure back to its full glory. Do you understand me?" he said. Yes, Shiro-sama," she said, sweating. "It doesn't matter," he said, walking out. "It doesn't matter who gets in our way. Nothing can stop us. I am far stronger than Naderi and that fool Dodo. By this time tomorrow I'll be the strongest ninja in the world." And by then he thought to himself, "I will no longer need them. I will show the world, brother, the power of the Ruggers." The Ruggers brothers stood together as snow was all around them, as they were in the land of Yukigakure. As a 15-year-old Shiro was standing over his older brother, as a 21-year Naderi was underground, covered in sweat despite the cold climate. Neither one was in chakra armors that yet to be invented. Instead, they were in a bulky attire that could also allow them mobility. "Marvelous, brother," said Naderi, as Shiro helped him up as he swung one of his arms over his shoulder to help him. "You are by far the greatest shinobi to be ever produced amongst Yukigakure. Prodigy amongst prodigies. You can be compared to such genius as Itachi and Yagura of the Three Tails. I am very confident in saying that neither of them will be a match for you." His brother's words brought Shiro even a bigger smile. "You will do great things in this world, brother." "No," Shiro said. "We will do great things." However, his brother had fallen in battle, and now he was the only one left. But he would live up to what his brother said, and become the greatest shinobi in this entire world. Time skip. Kakashi, Sai, and Sakura sat in steel, folded chairs. As everyone was moved around the stages, getting everything ready for the upcoming sex scene, the director was in one of those tall chairs that had his name written across the back. He, along with a large camera beside him, was the closest. Princess Koyuki was in an upright position on the bed. She was completely naked except for the sheets that trailed down her shoulders, as she waited with bated eyes for her hero to come through the door. This scene will be the final one of the third Ichi Ichi series, thus ending the movie and the trilogy. Originally, it was going to be one movie, but she didn't want to lose her virginity to any of the porn stars that the director hired, which was supposed to be the ending. So because of that, they changed up and gave her more time to decide as they created that trilogy. Luckily it worked and she was getting what she and her director wanted. The perfect ending to an amazing trilogy. Sakura looked on in irritation. She barely got any sleep last night. All she could think about was Naruto and the fact that he was going to do this with Koyuki so they could help Konoha. She was still upset about what she did to him when they reunited, but now she was getting mad at Naruto. She did not know why. Maybe it's because she had not even had her first kiss yet. But this idiot was already somehow about to lose his virginity. Or maybe it's because she thought their intercourse was going to bloom into something much more, and he would be taken away from her, which is something that she did not wanted. She did not want him to be with a woman like that because she would not see him anymore. Because if he was with someone, their close relationship would make that woman jealous, and Sakura could not hang out with him anymore. Because she knew she would feel the same way if her boyfriend was best friends with a female, despite her not going to do something like that with Naruto. That is why she didn't want Naruto to grow attached to any woman, at least not yet. She knew that it was selfish to think like that, but she could not help it. She just needed to talk to him just once. There were plenty of other circumstances that she came up with in her sleepless nights. However, she could not build up the courage to go and speak to Naruto. She did not want him to go through with this, and she wanted to apologize for her actions, but nothing was going her way. Kakashi, on the other hand, was having the time of his life. This was like a dream come true. He felt like a giddy kid at a candy shop. He was on the set for the final movie of the Ichi Ichi trilogy. He had already saw the first two movies, more time than he can count. And now he was gonna see the final climax. Pun intended. To top it all off, his own student was gonna be the one to lay the virgin Princess Koyuki to bed. This could not be any better, as he released another perverted giggle, causing Sakura to glare at him, as Sai stood there confused. On the other side of the setup stage, Naruto stood there with a towel wrapped around his waist. Aside from that, he was butt naked. He was never shy in his life, so he knew that this was not going to be too difficult. He did think that it was weird though that his teammates were staying to watch them. Sai stayed because he was probably curious about the art of sex. Kakashi was just a pervert, so Naruto was not surprised that he wanted to watch. However, the fact that Sakura was gonna watch sort of embarrassed him, as he wondered why did she want to stay. However, he was doing this for Konoha, so this was a small sacrifice. And besides, this wasn't his first time, so he did not see the big deal. Naruto was knocked out of his thoughts as he saw Koyuki's personal bodyguard, Sharu, walking up towards him, as Naruto asked a bit rudely, "Can I help you?" Sharu remained stoic as he lifted his hand up, showing that he was holding a blue gel pill. "This is medicine that Koyuki-sama wished for me to give you. It will let you last far longer in bed than normally possible." As Naruto glanced into his eyes, Sharu looked towards him. Nothing was said, as they looked at one another. That is when Sharu felt something wet running down his face, as he realized that it was sweat. Despite him being a bit taller than Naruto, he was starting to sweat by that gaze. As he started to feel his throat tighten, his legs feel like they were gonna suddenly collapse before the feeling vanished. As Naruto was now smiling as he took the pill from his shaking hand. "Thanks," he said. As Naruto popped the pill in his mouth and made a gulping sound, showing that he had swallowed. "You're welcome," Uzumaki-san, Saru said. "Well, I'll be going then." Once he was a distance away, he wondered, what the hell was that? He would have checked to make sure the man had perfectly eaten the pill, but that sensation was something that he's never felt in his entire life. He reached up and gripped the cloth over his armor, where his heart was, as his hands were trembling. He did not know what to make of Naruto, but he did know one thing though. Giving him that pill was a wise move. That man surely could have messed up their plans badly. However, thanks to that pill, in a few hours' time he would be nothing but a potato. Meanwhile, as Naruto spat the pill out of his mouth and crushed it, he would find out what is going on after. Hero, it's time to get in there, he heard the director voice. Oh yeah, that's my cue, said Naruto. As Naruto stepped on set, as he heard Kakashi whistle over to the side and going, woo 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 woo, cheering his student on. Because of Naruto's recent training, he had gotten a bit more muscle, as he had a faded six-pack. He was not too bulky, but it also helped that he was glistening from all the oil that the makeup artist had glistened on him. As Naruto glanced towards his sensei wanting him to shut up, however the others did not seem to pay Kakashi any mind. Sakura's face was covered by her fingers as she tried to get a tiny peep. She didn't want him to know that she was trying to get a peep. Her cheeks got pink as she saw how naked he was, as her eyes traveled downwards as she wanted to see. Kyuubi told she has never seen one of those before in real life. Yes, she had saw it in medical books, as she was incredibly careful when she worked at the hospital, knowing that sometimes patients were nothing but gowns. As she was always cautious asking nurses to do something that would accidentally let her see something she didn't want to see. The nurse, they always obliged as they thought her innocence was just too cute. But this was Naruto, her teammate and friend. It wouldn't be gross to see him, like seeing someone random. As she wondered though, what was Sasuke's like? It was probably perfect, just like him. As Sai had a notepad and pen in hand as he watched, with an impassive gaze. Alright there, hero, let's see what you got. Take off the towel. As Naruto reached towards and started to pull it, Sakura saw this. She immediately became so red, as she had to run out of there as fast as possible. As she was not ready for this, as Kakashi watched her leave, as Sai did not even pay her any mind. As Naruto dropped the towel, several people were shocked. Oh my god, the director dropped the mic. As Kakashi was looking at his student proud. That's my student, he said. I guess he does have one, said Sai. Koyuki's eyes widened as a grin broke across her face. Oh yeah, she definitely picked the right person. Time skip. Sakura sat by herself at the end of a pier. Her boots were beside her, her feet were in the water. It was starting to get dark as the sun was minutes away from falling under the horizon. As she sighed for the several time, thinking about Naruto and of course, Sasuke as well. She then sensed a chakra signature behind her. She tried to find out who it was without moving. As he got closer, she was shocked to find out that it was Naruto. As he was in a white t-shirt. He did not have his forehead protector on, allowing his spiky bangs to fall down his face. Black pants as he sat next to her. No words were said, as the place were quiet. As he seemingly looked into the water, this was her chance. She had to make a move. She had to say something now. I'm sorry. Sakura's mind almost exploded as Naruto said that. As she was about to say that, what? She said, turning towards him. As Naruto scratched the back of his head. Well, you've been so distant the entire time, and you haven't talking to me. I guess you were still angry about me arriving late, like Kakashi sensei. Sakura continued to look at him, a look of disbelief on her face. So this entire time they were not talking, they believed that one was mad at the other. She was such an idiot, of course. Naruto would not be mad at her. After all these years, when had Naruto ever been mad at her? Next to never, so for her to think that he would get heated over something like this was really stupid. He was her best friend, something like this was trivial. Naruto snapped his finger in front of her face, as she was not answering. As she shook her head to clear the cobwebs as she smiled at him. This could be used as her advantage, to get things back into focus. Apology accepted, Naruto, she said. So, how have you been? Becoming Hokage and all. It's pretty awesome, said Naruto. There's a lot of boring paperwork though. But I knew that was one of the cons of the job, but the pros still outweigh them by a lot. She nodded, as there was something she wanted to know. So how did you even get picked? As Naruto chuckled. I kind of barged in on the council meeting and demand they made me Hokage. She looked towards him. Oh my god, she said. What the hell is wrong with you? Do you know how much trouble you could have get into, she said. Hey, you gotta assert yourself sometimes, said Naruto. It's what made me a man, he said to her. As she looked towards him with a smile. Do you even know what assert means, she asked. As the two chuckled at the joke, as they proceeded to fall in silence. She then noticed bracelets on his arms. Hey, what are those? She said. Oh, these, said Naruto. They're chakra weights I bought a little while back. They're to help with my taijutsu training. As he lifted his white t-shirt to show the weights that he strapped to his abdomen, I gotta get stronger if I'm gonna save Sasuke after all. That statement shocked her. Even now he was hell-bent on saving Sasuke. He had the entire village to oversee and he still thought about saving Sasuke. She knew that Naruto was her best friend, but this just took the cake. As she moved and wrapped her arms around him, as he released his shirt. As Naruto was surprised, he looked down to meet her eyes. I have something to tell you, she said. As she leaned into his arm as she got a bit closer. You're the best friend a girl could ever ask for, she said. As she moved away after telling him her secret. She was smiling happily, kicking around at the water at her feet. He was glad that she turned away because she would have noticed the sad look on his face. I guess that's all I can be to you, he thought to himself. So, she said, what's it like? What's what like, he asked. As she did not look at him. As he then realized the sex, he asked. Her entire body seemed to freeze up at that. As she was really embarrassed. He glanced towards the heavens. It's nice, said Naruto. So you actually went through with it, she said. Of course I did, said Naruto. It was what was needed for Konoha to gain their support. She was upset for several reasons, but she knew as Hokage, Naruto had to do what it takes to protect the village as a whole. But she had to ask, weren't you a little bit upset that you had to lose your virginity like that? As Naruto raised her eyebrow, and who said I was a virgin? Her eyes widened. So Naruto had already done it before while she, a young attractive woman, had still not even had her first kiss yet. As Naruto seemed to know what she was thinking. Come on, Sakura-chan, said Naruto. I was with Jiraiya for about 3 years. The man called himself a super pervert. He called himself that, said Naruto. Let's just say that I lost my virginity several times when I was on the road. So Naruto already had experience? Sakura was shocked. However, something crossed her mind as she asked, How does it feel, she said. Well, the experience is different for male and woman, said Naruto. But I'm sure it's pleasurable both ways. After all, I know I enjoyed it. Just the thought of him having sex made Sakura recoil, as she released a small ew, making Naruto chuckle. Although, I'm sure if you do it with someone that you truly love, I'm positive that the experience will be the greatest thing ever. Her eyes shifted towards the lake, as her mind ran towards Sasuke. Yeah, Sasuke-kun would be great, she said as she giggled. I bet. He's huge. As Naruto had to stop himself from vomiting, not wanting to hear any more of this. As he got up, much to her confusion. Naruto, she said, where are you going? We've been here for almost an hour, said Naruto. I think it's time to go back. I'm ready to get back to Konoha, he said. She was not surprised, after all he was Hokage. He was probably worried about the village for being away for so long. As she was slipping her second sandal on, an explosion went off in the distance. As both of them snapped their head towards it. That was where the film set was. Meanwhile, Kakashi coughed into his coat. Surrounded by smoke, he pulled his headband up to search for survivors. Sigh, he said. There was a fit of coughs. Over here, Kakashi-sensei. As he walked up and helped him up, Sai. Can you make one of your flying artworks so we can get an aerial view, he said. Sai was already pulling out his supplies as he created a bird, as the both of them got onto it. As they could see everything from up in the sky. Kakashi glared down as Sai asked, who could have done this? As Kakashi sensed danger coming. Glancing up, he saw a barrage of sand bombs raining down. Sai, move, he said. They dodged the attack as they came to see a gigantic sparrow that was twice the size of Sai bird. On its back were 4 people, one of which was holding a woman in a gown. Kakashi's Sharingan eye widened as he saw who they were holding. They have Princess Koyoke. As Shiro stood on top of the sparrow's head, an unconscious Koyoke in his arms. His 3 subordinates behind him looking on with smiles on their faces. He looked over towards Fubuki. Deal with them, he said. With pleasure, she said. But guys, be and subscribe right here. If you want to see next person do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notifications they posted. Remember, share to all of your friends. on your social media platform. And also, guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the brand new episodes over in the other channel, guys. Yes, if you're new, I indeed have 4 channels that I post what if on every single day. Yes, you heard that correctly, every single day for guys to enjoy. And don't forget to comment down below so I can welcome you personally if you're new. And just check in, guys. And also turn on that bell notification to see exactly when I post. So without further ado, I'm out for now. See you guys soon. Peace.